Can you tell us about the direction that they're headed in and their strength at this point?
Yeah, we're still seeing winds gusting around 30 miles per hour throughout the Camp Fire area, maybe locally higher, closer to 40 miles per hour. And these winds will continue through the rest of today through tonight. They will start to drop off a little bit in the overnight hours and into your Friday morning, and then finally really start to shut down by Friday afternoon. I want to start off with this. This is a MODIS satellite pass. This was taken at about 11:50 this morning. So we're talking over 2.5 hours ago at this point, but we've only gotten one pass because this is a polar orbiting satellite. This is different from our regular weather satellites that sit over the same area. Those are geostationary satellites. This is from a polar orbiting satellite, so you only get a couple of passes every single day. So the fire started, of course, closer to Camp Creek Road, and you can kind of see the direction that the fire has moved throughout the day. And you can see kind of the heat signatures kind of move to the west. So again, this pass was at 11:50, and they just pick up heat from the infrared sensors on the satellite. And of course, there's Paradise right here. So you've got some of these orange squares indicating heat being picked up by the satellite. Of course, we got spot fires, and then we have the main flaming front of the fires. So not everywhere you see the orange is the main flaming front. A lot of these could be from spot fires, but it kind of gives you an idea. We will get some more passes. We have the MODIS satellite, and then we also have another polar orbiting satellite called the VIIRS satellite. And so that should really start to help fill in the gaps and kind of give you an idea of what's going on as we head through the next 3 to 4 hours in terms of where the actual fire has burned and where it is currently burning. Jarboe Gap, this is the latest weather conditions, just came down in the last 10 minutes, 63 degrees. Again, this is not exactly where the fire is, but this is about as close as we can get, because the closer you get to the campfire, you have no power, and so those sensors have been off since this morning closer to Paradise. Relative humidity down to 11%. Very, very dry air in place. And again, this is not exactly where the campfire is, so it could be single digits closer to the campfire. That east-northeasterly wind that we've been tracking all day today at about 15 miles per hour, gusting to 24, so a little bit lower at this site. But again, this is just one single site. You head 5 miles down the road, the winds could be stronger, they could be lighter, and the winds could shift because of the topography. The winds turn based on local topography. Here's a look at the radar. So this animation is over the last 5 hours, and we've been mentioning this quite a bit throughout the entire fire season. What you're seeing on the radar, it's not the flames, it's the actual debris. So it's the ash. It's maybe some of that thick smoke. A lot of the smoke not picked up by the radar. It's mainly the ash and the material, maybe some of those leaves, all that debris that kind of gets thrown up in the air by the main flaming front. So what you want to look for, you want to look upwind. So we've got east-northeasterly winds. So you want to look upwind, and then you'll notice as you head from these very high returns on the radar, the yellows, the oranges, that's that thick material, and you'll notice how it kind of quickly goes down to the light greens and then to nothing. So that's likely where you're seeing most of the flaming activity right now as you head upwind. And you can kind of notice over the last 5 hours where that changeover is. It's been moving slowly to the west and southwest. So that's likely the main flaming front of the campfire as it moves off to the west. And of course, as you zoom in a little bit closer, you can kind of see that area moving into Paradise right now. So just really scary to see that at this point. And again, with those winds from out of the east and northeast, it's going to continue to get pushed off to the west and southwest. Of course, we're seeing a lot of smoke from the campfire, really impacting air quality in Butte County, Glenn County, Colusa County, Lake County, and all that smoke getting pushed off to the west and southwest. So of course, the folks in the Bay Area are seeing a lot of that smoke because that's just the direction the wind is blowing. As you head further off to the north, you can see the smoke plume, but you'll notice air quality not much of a concern once you get, let's say, Corning and northward up to Red Bluff and into Redding. There's a look at the wind. So of course, this is what's pushing the fire. This is pushing the direction of the fire. And the way we set up this graphic, everywhere you see a red arrow on this map, it's a wind of at least 15 miles per hour. It's possible some of these arrows are closer to 30 miles per hour, but everywhere you see a red, that's at least 15 miles per hour. Underneath it on the base layer, that's the relative humidity. So we've got relative humidity values right around single digits by the campfire with those east-northeast winds. And we'll continue to see those east-northeasterly winds through 11 o'clock tonight. You'll notice 11 o'clock tonight, and that's going to continue to push the fire to the west and southwest. Winds dropping off for some other areas of the North State, but still in place for the campfire location. All the way through the overnight hours and into Friday morning, we still have those winds of at least 15 miles per hour. And look at that. This is 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, and you can really pick out the thermal belts. The thermal belts are the warm spots in the overnight hours, and it's it's also when we typically see the lowest humidity. So right there in the thermal belts by the campfire, that's where we still have low teens to single-digit relative humidity. Finally, the winds start to drop off below 15 miles per hour, but look at the dry air that's in place. We're talking widespread 5-6% relative humidity, just extremely low for November. Wind gusts, so that will sustain winds. Here's wind gusts. Right now, we're still seeing winds gusting around 30 to 40 miles per hour, isolated lower or higher, of course. And then heading through the rest of this afternoon into the evening hours, still seeing pinks and purples on the map. Again, the pink contour, at least 30 miles per hour. And then as you head into the purple, that's 40 miles per hour. Winds start to drop off through the overnight hours. So right around sunrise tomorrow morning, you'll notice winds closer to about 20 miles per hour. And again, these are gusts, not sustained winds. And then finally dropping off by tomorrow afternoon. I can't stress this enough. We're not just concerned about the campfire. We're concerned about the entire North State through the rest of today. These reds that you see, this widespread red, which we don't see very often. I can't recall seeing this much widespread red on the map before. That is extreme. That is the top of the scale from the National Interagency Fire Center. That's the fire danger rating for today. That takes into account the fuels, both live and dead fuels, and the weather forecast for today. No rain in the forecast through the next 7 days. That light green that you see right there, that's a trace. That's not even measurable rain. So this is all the way through the next 7 days, through next Thursday. You have to head well off to the north before you even pick up a tenth of an inch. And here's another thing that we've been watching. This is kind of a new product that firefighters are starting to use now. It's called the EDDI, or the Evaporative Demand Index. And it's an index that takes into account the temperature, the humidity, the winds, and the solar radiation. So how much incoming solar radiation we're seeing. That's basically how clear it's been. If we had cloud cover, the solar radiation would be lower because you're not getting that down to the surface. And this is over the last 4 weeks. And another thing to keep in mind, the cutoff date for this is November the 3rd. So that's 5 days ago. So we've seen very dry and gusty winds since then. But even cutoff at 4 weeks, ending on November the 3rd, you've got reds to dark reds. So we're basically sitting at record levels. So any little bit of moisture that we had in the fuels or the soils have been quickly evaporated out over the last 4 weeks. So again, that's the Evaporative Demand Index, and a new product that firefighters are really starting to use. We'll come right back. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to have the latest on the campfire.
If you're